You probably can't read that. It says certified book lover. You feel me? If you gonna be in med school, I hope you enjoy reading. Not that it's necessary, but I don't know. I feel like it just goes hand in hand. Anyway, I'm gonna talk about this book sometime soon. Not today. Today, though, I really wanted to talk about some advice that I wish I would have received before getting into med school, and kind of what I feel like everybody should be prepared for. So, what am I getting at? What I'm getting at is you really have to foster your curiosity. You really have to foster your curiosity. What do I mean by that? You need to be prepared to ask questions. You need to be prepared to inquire. You need to be prepared to kind of dig deeper and have somebody elaborate for you. Basically, man, it's like on some, I guess you could say it's like on some networking type advice, which I personally hate networking. I'm terrible at networking. But man, that's the nature of the beast. That's what medical school is. It's a bunch of freaking networking. And I'm not even giving this advice because I'm good at networking and oh, I figured it out. But I realize that simply being how would I put it, a mature enough adult to be able to kind of be comfortable asking questions to try to get the answers that you really want to get. And I hate saying it, cause trust me, I don't do it. But like this brown nose and shit. But basically, like you gotta ask questions that give people an opportunity to talk more about themselves. Honestly, like that's what it is. And I don't do it to suck up to anybody. I'm not really into that. I'm not really into rubbing shoulders with different upperclassmen and faculty in order to like get in good or make connections. I'm gonna be honest, I don't give a fuck about that. I'm gonna be totally honest. I know in my heart of hearts I can make a way without I can get by just as far as I would like to get far as just by being a decent person, being an inquisitive person, being a competent person. I don't need to make the right friends. I don't need to rub the right shoulders. I don't need to go to the right parties, so on and so forth. I'm repulsed by that personally. I don't care. Um, so I say all that to say that I'm not giving this information so that you could do this stuff properly. I'm giving this information so that you could be prepared to essentially stand out not just as a student, but stand out as a mature professional. That's what I'm really interested in is professionalism. I know my hair doesn't say it today, but that's what I'm interested in is professionalism. I want you to be prepared and stop being a student. Once you honestly, before you even get that acceptance letter, I want you to have in your mind you're trying to be a physician. You need to be professional. Stop acting like a student, like a little child, scared to speak up. So, what am I getting at? Anyway, so far, and it's like totally unexpected. It's not like there's a bunch of events where they're like, make sure you come with your questions ready. It's nothing like that. But just know that every single instance, every meeting you go to, every every class, every lunch lecture, every extracurricular thing, um, sometimes a guest speaker comes and talks. It's literally day in and day out. Everything you go to, somebody is gonna talk to you a little bit, and they expect questions. They want to know that people are paying attention and that you're inquisitive and that you care. Um, or even if you don't care, you're smart enough to get them to elaborate on what they really wanted to elaborate on, but they didn't get to in their little spiel. You have to be willing to ask questions. It sounds strange, but I promise you, it's that simple. Like I'm not saying like the exemplar of medical students. I promise you. I promise you. But what I can tell you is I know for a fact I have made an impression on faculty and the professors and like just even my cohort, my colleagues, just by being willing to and making sure that I'm paying attention enough and competent enough to ask follow up questions. So let me think. Uh, when I was doing, it was like a little like prep thing at the school that I got accepted into. It was like a month before school started. They allowed some students to come in and kind of like get a sort of not really a jump start, but like kind of get a feel for what medical school is going to be like. And at that, it was so many lunch meetings with faculty, like just to sit down and talk to like the deans and stuff like that, and blah blah blah. And they'll, like I said, they'll always give the little spiel. They'll be like, "We love you guys. I'm so glad you came to medical school. Blah blah blah, and hope everything's going good. What questions do you have for me?" After every single instance where you talk to a faculty member, 9 times out of 10, it's going to end with, "What questions do you have for me?" And they want to hear questions. Like I said, they want you to prove that you're paying attention, that you're inquisitive, or just mature and professional enough to speak up in front of an audience. It's really that simple. It's really that simple. And the reason I'm saying this is because so far in my experience through med school, I look around and so many people are in a mindset where they're like still undergrad, like scared little students, scared to speak up in front of the class. You got to cut that out. If you're going to be a physician, all you're doing is public speaking. That's it. That's day in and day out you're public speaking. So how are you scared in a space where people are begging you to speak publicly, where you did all of this work to get accepted into school and do all this stuff, blah, 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 and then you get there and you're mute? You're finally on a stage where it's time to really start training to become a physician and you're mute? No, no, that's the opposite approach. Now you have to double down. You have to double down. You have to lean into finding your voice. Speak up. As you see, I'm talking with so much passion. Don't do that, Woodrow. I'm talking with so much passion, bro, because like I said, I see this day in and day out. People are so scared to speak up. I'm not the world's greatest public speaker. I promise you. I'm not. But what I am is willing to. I'm willing to try. That's it. I ask questions in class, I ask questions after a public speaker gives a talk. Sometimes, not all the time. Um, I ask questions at little lunch lectures. If something comes to me, if I even feel compelled a little bit and there's an opportunity to ask a question, I'm going to ask it and ask a real question. Pay attention and ask a real question. You know what I mean by a real question. I hate all of this interview speak. I hate all of this networking. Oh, uppity, worded, uh, ever so slightly and be all super polite and not even really ask like a real thought provoking question. Just ask something to get them to talk. No, ask a real question. You know that first mind, your first mind, it always tells you what it really wants to know. It really wants to talk about. Ask that question. Ask that question. For instance, when like I said, in this little thing where I had, and it's a bunch of opportunities. You're gonna have like lunch lectures or just like luncheons, whatever, with the deans of the medical school. It's bound to happen. It's just a customary thing, and they get a little spiel. Like I said, happy to have you here. Love you. Blah blah. What question do you have for me? Everybody's asking, oh, what's your favorite part about the curriculum? Um, uh, what do you imagine are the challenges moving forward uh, with like the incoming medical students? And what advice do you have for medical students? Shut the fuck up. Ask a real question. What I asked was, because during the years of COVID, at the heyday of COVID and the aftermath, trust in the medical profession is at an excuse me. Trust in the medical profession has reached its nadir. Okay, the social standing of being a physician has plummeted. People do not trust healthcare professionals. That's white and black and every color in between. People do not trust the medical profession as much as they did because of things that happened during the heyday of COVID. What do you think has attributed to that decline in trust in the medical profession? And what advice do you have, or what do you think is the solution to increase that trust? And how might a medical student just starting out better play a role in increasing that trust? That's what I asked. I basically said COVID, because of COVID, the medical world looks shady as fuck. What are we gonna do about it? That's the question I asked. And I'm not saying, oh, I'm the greatest, I asked the best question ever, blah, blah. But I asked the question that everybody really, like in the real world, wants to know. I want to know, like, what's really applicable, what's going on in the real world. In the real world, is everybody know COVID got hella political. Everybody know that you want to call them anti-vaxxers or whatever, and then the opposite side were people who want to take every vaccine known to man and don't question anything that the medical profession does. COVID exposed uh, corruption, ignorance, greed, and just blind allegiance to whoever says that you should be allegiant to them and you should, excuse me, not allegiant, but obedient to them. And it's basically, it was a very scientific argument that got boiled down to rhetoric and choosing sides over science. And that was what's put on full display. So why are we in school not addressing what the real world is talking about? Anyway, I'm getting off topic. My bad. I'm going on my rant. Excuse me. But what I want to come back to is be prepared to ask questions. Be a professional. Stop being scared to speak up. Once you get into medical school, you could try to fly under the radar as much as you want, and that's fine. If you like absolutely demand flying under the radar, fine, do your thing. But I think you're stunting your growth. I think you're a weirdo, honestly. How do you want to be a physician but you're scared to speak? Well, not scared to speak in public, but you refuse to speak in public because you're scared. You're a weirdo for that. Stop. That's loser mentality. That's loser shit. Speak up. You have something to say. Speak up. That's all being a physician is. That's a part of the job day in and day out, no matter what specialty you're doing. And really, that's not just being a physician, that's being an adult. Speak up. I see so many people not really ask what they want to ask, share what they want to share. I get it so much from my classmates. And I promise you, I'm not over here pleasuring myself, but I hear it often. Like my classmates are like, "Man, I'm really glad you asked that question," or "I love when you ask questions. Like for some reason, like you ask what everybody like wanted to know, blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Look, I appreciate it. That's cool, but I'm not doing this for y'all. I'm doing it because I'm an adult. It's as simple as that. And I want to have faith in my future colleagues that y'all are not scared to speak up when it's time to speak up. And this is a message to me as well. I could always speak up more. Trust me. I could always find a better way to uh, express myself and a better way to conduct myself as a professional. Absolutely, this is a message to myself. But anyway, man, I'm gonna wrap up. I've been rambling, but please speak up. Speak up. Be prepared to speak up. When you get to medical school, you need to speak up more often. you're going to be expected to speak up more often. Yes, in front of people. Oh my God. Yes, in front of people, in front of a bunch of people. It's what it is, man. It's a part of being an adult. You could do it, though. Trust me. You could do it. I believe in you. Peace.